Good morning, dear students. Welcome to Iqra English School. I hope you all must be fine here. You know that this is your class with the NCERT EVS book looking around, and today we are going to read the chapter number 15, Blow Hot, Blow Cold. So, dear students, first of all, I want to tell you that this story has been written by Dr. Zakir Hussain, that is the former president of India, and he has written many stories for the children like this. This is a story of a woodcutter and Mia Balishte. Woodcutter is a person who cut the wood from the forest and sell it into the city, so that like this he earn money for his family. Now let's start the chapter. There was a woodcutter. Every day in the morning he used to go to the forest to cut wood. In the evening he would sell the wood in the city. One day he went deep into the forest. It was very cold winter. His fingers were becoming numb. Every now and then the woodcutter would put down his axe and bring his hands close to his mouth. Then he would blow hard on them to warm them. Here there is a woodcutter who daily cut the wood from the forest in the morning, and in evening he went to the city to sell the food. And one day he went into the deep forest. That is why in the deep forest there was so much winter, there was so much cold, and that is why his fingers were becoming numb. Numb means when sometimes when there is so much cold, then our hands freezed, and that is why it stopped working because of frozen. That is why the meaning of that is the meaning of numb. Every now and then the woodcutter would put down his axe. So because of becoming so much cold, the woodcutter bring his hands to close to his mouth and blow on them so that it could be warm. While he was cutting wood, Mia Balishte was watching him from a corner. Mia Balishte saw that the woodcutter kept blowing on his hands. He began to wonder what all that was about, but he could not understand it. He got up thinking that he would go and ask the woodcutter. After walking a little, he came back thinking that the woodcutter may not like being asked. Finally, Mia Balishte could not help himself. He went hopping to the woodcutter and said, "Hello, brother. If you don't mind, can I ask you something?" Here, a person named, you are watching that this is a person who is very shorter, that you are watching, this is very shorter person. This is a man who lived in the forest, and he was shorter in height than others, and he was also uneducated. And Mia Balishte was watching to the woodcutter that he was blowing on his hands. So he was very surprised. So he want to go to the woodcutter and asked why he was doing this work, why he was blowing on his hand. So he went to the woodcutter and he asked, "Can I ask you something?" Seeing this tiny person, the woodcutter was amazed and amused. When the woodcutter saw this tiny person, this shorter person, he was very amazed. But he hid his smile and asked, of course, ask what you want to. All I want to ask is, why do you blow from your mouth on your hands?" said Mia Balishte. Mia Balishte asked to the woodcutter, "Why are you blowing on your hands from your mouth?" Now see this picture carefully. Here there is a fire. The woodcutter is blowing from his mouth on the fire, and here the woodcutter is trying to eat the hot potato. Now the woodcutter replied, "It is too cold. My hands are frozen, so I blow on them to warm them up a little. Then when they get cold again, I warm them again by blowing." The woodcutter answered that my hands are so much frozen, that is why I am blowing on my hands to keep warm our hands. And again when our hands become cold, then again I blow on them for being warm. Now Mia Balishte nodded. Oh, oh, so that's it. And with that he moved off. But he stayed nearby and kept a close watch on him. After listening this, Mia Balishte went, but he was nearby and he was hid nearby and he was watching to the woodcutter. Soon it was afternoon. The woodcutter began to think of lunch. He picked up 2 stones and made a chulha. He lit a fire and put a small handi or pot filled with potatoes to boil. The wood the wood was damp, so the woodcutter bent down and blew on the fire to help it burn. Balishte was watching him from a distance. Array, he said to himself, there, there he goes again, blowing from his mouth. Does fire comes out from his mouth? Now the woodcutter is blowing on the fire, is blowing on the wood that is a little wet to burn. So when Mia Balishte saw that the woodcutter is also blowing on the fire, then he thought, is there fire coming out from his mouth? The woodcutter was feeling very hungry. He took out a potato from the handi. He tried to eat it, but the potato was too hot. He again began to blow on it. Foo foo. Array, said Balishte to himself. He is blowing again. Now what? He is going to burn the potato. After blowing a few more foo foo on it, the woodcutter put it in his mouth and began to eat it. Now the woodcutter was very hungry, so he took out a potato from the handi, and the potato was very hot. That is why he again started to blow on the potato for keeping that cold. But Mia Balishte could not understand this. He thought that now the woodcutter want to burn the potato from his mouth. So again the woodcutter was very surprised. Now Mia Balishte was surprised. He just could not stop himself and off. He went hopping to the woodcutter. Hello brother, he said. If you don't mind, can I ask you a question again? So again when Mia Balishte was surprised to see that the woodcutter is blowing on the hot potato, he went to him and asked a question. The woodcutter replied, not at all. Ask whatever you want, Mia Balishte said. This morning you told me that you blow on your hands to warm them up. Now you are blowing on this potato which is already so hot. Why do you want to make it hotter? So Mia Balishte asked to the woodcutter that in the morning you were blowing on your hands and you were telling that our hands are cold, and now we are blowing on our hands to become it warm. But now the potatoes are already hot, and now why are you making it too hot for after blowing from your mouth? Now the woodcutter answered, no, my little friend, this potato is too hot and I am blowing on it to cool it down. Then the woodcutter answered, no, the potato is too hot and I am blowing on it to make it cold. When he heard this, Mia Balishte's face became white. He began to tremble with fear and started to back away. When Mia Balishte listened that the woodcutter is blowing on the potato for making it cold, then he was very afraid and he began to tremble with fear and he started to back away. The woodcutter was a good man. He said, what's wrong, Mia? Are you trembling because of the cold? When the woodcutter saw that Mia Balishte was trembling, then he asked him, are you trembling with cold? But Mia Balishte kept going back. When he was a safe distance away, he said to himself, what kind of a creature is this? Surely he must be a ghost or a jinn. Blow hot, blow cold with the same breath. It is just not possible. So when Mia Balishte listened that he is blowing on the cold hand for keeping that warm, and he is blowing on the hot potato for keeping it cold. Then he was very surprised and he was very afraid of, and he thought that he is another creature. Maybe he would be a ghost or jinn. That is why he can blow hot and cold together from his same breath. That is not possible that is not possible from one person, Mia Balishte thought. That's right, there are something which just cannot be, but they are. But he thought that there is something that cannot be, but they are. So this is the first part of the chapter. Yes, friends, I hope you understand the meaning of blow hot and blow cold. Whenever anything is cold, then we blow that for keeping that warm, and whenever anything is cold, whenever anything is warm, then we blow on this for keep this cold. So we will meet in the next part of the chapter. Till then, good day.